Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today we are going to work on this. Mike has been a long time viewer and supporter of the channel. He sent this a long time ago and I have just had it sitting around for quite a while. I did do the classic save the best till last. This is an Ethiopian water opal. As you can see, I am holding it underwater. It is safe to bring up and out for a little while, but you wouldn't want to let it dry because it's an unfinished stone, and these, even when finished, don't tend to dry super friendly. Though I am trying to resolve that with a few little experiments which will come on the channel later on. So for this one, you can see it's got that nice little 3D effect, crystal opal. Crystal as in, if I put my thumb behind it, you can see all the way through. And this kind of crystal opal from Ethiopia, you can really see a 3D effect. If I bring it all the way towards the camera, you can almost see that that color has streaks shooting all the way into the stone. So what we're going to do is we're going to carve away, get all of these little bits of sand out of it, hopefully not form too many cracks, though I feel like I can see one maybe forming from that sand pocket deep internally there. We're going to try to get it as clean as possible while keeping as much of the mass as possible, but then we are going to keep it in water at the end for now. Anyway, my fingertips are freezing, so let me spin up and we can talk about it as we go. Well, this was a super unusual stone, but it started out so simple. So whipping out the 120 grit sintered diamond burr, we're just going to do all the rough removal, all that external sand, any little chips. Of course, we're going to tackle all of these edges because I'm going to hit this one with the resin burrs. My resin burrs don't really care too much about sharp edges, but just because it's a good thing to do and we're going to need to shape it anyway, we're going to do it with the 120 grit. The reason I'm not using the 80 is that it tends to chip a lot, but soon into using the 120 grit, I looked and there is this huge crack running straight through the middle. It stems from a little bit of sand. There's a couple planes of sands and a couple pockets of sand. It happens with Ethiopian opal, but this one is super different. Typically when you see a crack like this, all you do is you snap it off. You snap it off as early as possible so you know what you're working with, and you'll see me now just give it a good squeeze and typically it just goes pop, but you'll notice I am not getting it to pop. It is super hard. So whatever, I just thought nothing of it and went, alright, I'm going to attack some deeper sand. So we go ahead and we get rid of the last of this sand. It comes off pretty easily, got very deep. And this entire time I'm looking at this crack and thinking, why is it not cracking? With Ethiopian opal, it is typically super easy for anyone that's worked on it. As soon as you see a crack form, you just pop it. It's very nice. Pulitzer Opal did a really good video where he had a whole series of cracks and he just popped them. It's like cracking your knuckles. It's very satisfying, though I don't do that myself. It's just a great way to get through the stone, and then you know what you're working with. You don't want it to break when you're halfway through polishing. You really want it as soon as humanly possible. So I'm digging into this sand and I'm looking at this crack going, oh yeah, this will thin it out. This will make it real easy to crack. But as you'll see, I try over and over again. I would have tried between every stage to get this stone to crack. It is ridiculous that it is not coming apart. It typically takes absolutely zero effort. And this one is just not cracking. It even looks like the crack in some areas is healing. So maybe this was cracked deep underground and then silica still settled in there. You can see I'm pushing and it is not getting anywhere. I'm putting full force into this. So if I really want to get rid of that crack now, I'm going to have to whip out the saw and slice it in half because I am trying everything from every angle. Even after drilling deep into the stone, the crack is just not going. And you'll see that sometimes the crack has a little bit of a surface imperfection, just like here, which I'm getting rid of with the 600 grit. But at some points that little crack completely disappears and it looks like a line with no physical crack reaching the surface. It is super strange. I've seen it in Australian opal. Sometimes you get some cracks healing with some pot settling in there and it's sealing back up. But I've never had it with Ethiopian opal, especially with water opal. Normally this stuff cracks even if there is no crack. You can twist it hard enough and it might split. But this one is rock solid. I can't see any signs of treatment. There's no glue or anything in there. Mike wouldn't pick up anything that has been treated. And he has a lot of this material, including the other half of this stone. This is just super weird. It is just glued shut magically. But as you can see, I'm just going with the 600 grit, just minor shaping, going over all the edges, just smoothing everything out, just getting the final shape done. And then we'll switch over and get to polishing. Even though it is an opal that lives in water, we do polish it anyway. It helps the colours actually pop through. You can't leave a fuzzy surface there. So you can see the combo here is the resin diamond burrs and the cerium oxide, because it is just pure opal. And with the resin diamond burrs, I do skip the 200 grit. Because this kind of opal is really soft, all the Ethiopian opals are pretty similar. They're very soft, so I tend not to need to go to the 200 to start with, though you will see that that green paste is forming very quickly. The burr will degrade much quicker if you don't hit it with the 200 first, but I thought for this one it does trim off the surface really quickly, so you don't actually have to spend too long on that stage. Just doing it once should get you through it. So let's have a look at the final stone. Well, that's the end of this one. It is a spectacular stone. Beautiful colour. I'm just holding it below the water at the moment. I can hold it above. It is fully polished. Fully polishing it still gives you that nice crystal clean colour. If you leave it not polished, even though you're going to store it in water, you do still get a little bit of a dulling effect. So you want to get a full polish like you would any other stone, and then you can store it in your water. But you can see even outside of water, if I dry off a section, it's still got that same kind of sheen underneath. Now, one thing I do want to say is that is 100%, without a doubt, a crack originating from this little sandy pocket. It's almost like a sand line that's going through. There is a crack stemming from it. I have no idea what's happened with this stone. No other Ethiopian stone with a crack in it has ever survived, but I have tried snapping this thing in half. I would have shown a few times in the video. I gave it all I had, and I did it in between every single stage, trying to get it to just pull apart, and it just would not do it. It is 100% a crack that originates from the sand, and then it goes all the way across and through to here. It is clear as day. Super clear on camera as well. You can see that line, you can see the sand that's part of that line, and it just seems to have semi-healed itself. I reckon if I kept it out, it would definitely split along that line. But because it's held on so well, and it's such a nice looking stone anyway, I am gonna let it survive and it will stay as one piece. And I'll get a little snow globe style dome thing for it. Even underwater, you can see just over here, where my fingertip is, you can see that crack just reaching the surface. It's definitely a crack. It's just that the crack just kind of heals itself along the line. Every now and then it's got pockets of air within it, but it just holds together. Same over here. At certain angles you can really see that there is a physical crack there. And yet it just won't split. Super weird, super confusing part of this stone, but as you can see, it's got all of the colours, even a little bit of the blues sneak in, particularly on the back. The blue greens come in. 3D colour because of that crystal effect. I'll chuck it in its little water storage. This will probably be a candidate to slice in half at some point, and if I want to do any experimentation, this one will probably get it, because it does have great colour. It definitely has a flaw. And one day I probably will go back to it and just saw it in half along that line and trim it back up into two separate stones. They would both be pretty cool stones. So hopefully you enjoyed that. I don't work this kind of material very much. In fact, this might be the only rough piece that I've got left. You may not see it on the channel again for a very long time. But do not fear, got plenty of other stones, mostly Aussie opal, and there'll be heaps of that coming up. So catch you guys later. Get your hands on some of this stuff if you just want to play with it, but it's not my super favourite for sure. I much prefer the other Ethiopian Wellow opal, but you should always, as an opal fan, have a little bit of everything. I'm just playing with the reflection of the light to look at those cracks, because they're definitely breaching the surface every now and then, and yet it holds together. Absolutely crazy. Stay safe, have fun, good luck with your carving, and I'll see you in the next one.